Hey, before I start letting out a bunch of statements here, let me just say, from making this channel, I had 5 games in mind to cover. Genshin, Wuthering Waves, Ananta, ZZZ, and soon, hopefully next year, Arknight Sandfield. Genshin, for me, was the first to go. Spent 5 years, and those 5 years are the most I felt unappreciated in supporting a video game. We all know I love Wuthering Waves, but yeah, there's always about the characters that they release are what you may call peak. To the point I want them all, but I can't due to the lack of pulls we get every single patch, while also them releasing 2 new characters every single patch. Look, I'm mentioning this for now because it will come to play after this, trust me. ZZZ after that is not doing too good. The path it's going, not gonna lie, very annoyed with the HP inflation in that game, and it's starting to seem like a pay-to-win game. Soon Ananta and Arknight Sandfield will surely drop next year. I'm saying it will take more time for Ananta as well because I do have something to say about their gameplays. It looks a bit scuffed, although they may look polished, there are moments that bugs me, and I'm sure a lot of you notice it too. With that being said, let's get through this. Just wow, this was such a wild news to receive in this time, but the gacha space is so awfully dreadfully dry right now. Took them a while, 9 months I believe, to give a proper gameplay trailer for Ananta, aka Project Mugen. Before this it was called Project Mugen, but they changed the name into Ananta, and it might just be the most informative trailer I've seen delivered. What Ananta is doing, from what I can see, from what I can tell, this is a game that will possibly have an unlimited amount of contents, following up to an outrageous values of freedom with numerous flights, vehicles, and so many more exploration mechanics, like the Spiderman swinging that they continuously try to milk. Of course comes the most important part, the combats. We got first-person shooting game, the third-person shooting game, fighting style similar to games like Yakuza, Sifu, Batman Arkham, Sleeping Dogs. I don't know how they are adding so much, but we even have the hacking tech, heavily inspired by Watch Dogs. We got basketball, going to the gym, throwing darts, clubbing, dancing, I don't know. It just seems so endless. Although, despite the game having an unlimited amount of contents, there's also some issues through this delivery. For example, there's even this small clip about them copying Sleeping Dogs frame by frame. As you can see right here, hop into the guy's back, exact same animation. We also have this Spider-Man symbiote takedown, and there's just many more. Just look at this, there is zero difference. And then there's a person in the comments did mention something like, yeah, no, Prototype did it way before Spider-Man 2, and it wasn't probably even the first. And I understand that, I get it. A lot of games took a lot from one another, always, all the time. And I wouldn't even say Prototype did it first. There's also God of War have the exact same animation where he used his blade to tackle down one enemy. It happens a lot when our main character have a whip as a weapon. And so let me just show you what the Prototype did. Here is what the Prototype game did. This is from the Prototype 2. Boom, just like that. Although I do understand that other games did the same thing as well, you have to admit, this looks exactly the same. The whole rigging, the animation, the camera angle, it's just too much similarity. So I and many other players can't help but wonder, is this even okay? How is this even allowed? I'm not gonna go into it too much, but I'll show you guys what I can find. It's a Chinese company at the end of the day. That's all I'm gonna say. Maybe they can get away with it without going through some legal troubles. But at some point, you just have to admit, you might be flying too close to the sun here. You can get away with some stealth movements from Batman Arkham or Spider-Man. Maybe even the swinging animation, which is already crazy. Let me just show you right here to compare side by side. Like, this is from Spider-Man 2. I mean, sure, Spider-Man 2 does have a lot more movements. And that is the Ananta at the top right there. And barely any changes. It looks a bit more unfinished. And this is the Grand Theft Auto versus Ananta. They have similarities. Obviously, that's what Ananta is about right now. Like, they have a bunch of variations of other games. Uncharted 4. Now there's even GTA 6 right here. And GTA 6 is not even out yet. And again, the Spider-Man 2. So going through this, at some point you have to think like there's going to be a little backlash coming back at you, wouldn't you say? But here's my take on this. If Ananta could do better, they should. So I did come across to this post not too long ago, and they answered a bit of a question of what I'm thinking right now and how did Ananta was able to get away with it. Let's just go ahead and give it a read. To answer your question, in the second paragraph, Ananta is heavily advertised and marketed by Sony. Sony owns Insomniac. Now that is something I do not know, but if that is true, I kind of understand. NetEase published Ananta, and this is also partnered with Marvel and produce arguably the most popular Marvel game of recent years. NetEase and Sony had a high-profile partnership back in 2021, and if you don't already know, Sony is also part of PlayStation, and PlayStation heavily promoted Ananta, and I'm sure that also plays a huge part of why NetEase was able to get away with all of this animation from Spider-Man games. So if there really was a problem, Sony would be the one to sue. Yet evidently Sony is not just fine with it, but supportive of it. Sony likely gave NetEase their explicit permission to use the Spider-Man mechanics, probably even asked some Insomniac devs to help with the implementation. If that were true, then the Insomniac devs actually help with the Ananta's movement, Ananta's gameplay. That would mean that they can actually perfect the gameplay as well. And honestly, that would be really nice for the players, because I would like to see the gameplay more polished than it already is. You can have your opinion on how one-to-one it looks, and I agree, but it's a nothing burger. That is very true, and I don't see why people are even bother getting mad. Sure, there's a lot of copy-paste movement, and I'm sure a lot of people are saying that they are a bit of a shameless company for doing something like this. But look, at the end of the day, they are here to make money, and so are we here to just have fun. If we can enjoy the gameplays that they have added into the game, I don't see why they wouldn't. So if they are able to get away with this, and they could add so much more gameplay from other games, I say go for it. I would love to play Uncharted in a gacha game, in a gacha aspects. I would love to have Spider-Man in anime art style. I say this is an absolute win for a lot of players out there, especially for those who can't afford a PlayStation 5, for example. Like, they can't play Spider-Man 2, they can't play Uncharted. Like, we never get to experience this game, but now they're just adding it into this one free-to-play game. Either way, this game needs to take its time. So much time, and when I mentioned they should release next year, I meant it. The game may look polished, but it is unbelievably ambitious. If Enfield is rumored to be released early 2026, Ananta will most likely be releasing late 2026. I would even advise going for 2027. Here's some more clips I found on Twitter. As you can see right there, the moment this guy tried to swing, it doesn't seem like there is any physics to it, alright? It doesn't seem like he completely got dragged. It just looks like he got slowly pulled into gliding, swinging. And there's a lot of clipping in here as well. So the game is not fully polished, you can already tell. And when they said that the Insomniac dev are actually helping, I really do hope so. I really do hope they can actually make this game more polished and help NetEase into making this a better game. That would be so amazing. And I would just like to enjoy a much more polished game, not a barely finished game, a half-ass game that has a lot of variation of other games. I do not want this game to be half-assed, so please, Ananta, just take your time. Even in the first trailer, you can immediately tell that this is a game that copies variation of other games. The only thing that makes it feel original is the anime art style. And this is what will lead picky gamers out there that mostly plays anime games able to experience combat from Spider-Man, Batman Arkham, and some other third-person shooting game like GTA, I would say. We were shown more later on with God knows how much mini games they have decided to install in their game. I was honestly pretty excited from the update already back then, and genuinely thought they were being ambitious around that time. I couldn't be more wrong. What we had now might just be even more, and could even completely ruin what all future gacha games are doing. You could even say Ananta went for everything they possibly could insert into their game. For example, if you like gacha games like Genshin Impact or Wuthering Waves, and you think their minigames and events are already top-notch, well, Ananta have it as well, most likely. Ananta just have everything, and I just don't think it's a mobile game at that point. And so I am no longer worried about the contents in the game, I am more worried about the performance issue throughout the game. I very much doubt this game will perform in mobile. I think that's just something they add to get mobile players to start spending in the early start of the game, but when the next few patches, next few updates comes, you're either forced to buy a new PC or drop the game immediately, which is already something gacha players don't do. I'm sure some of you have also been informed about this, but look, it's fine. I would also like to mention this still. The game will no longer have character gachas, and instead, the gacha will be based around cosmetics.
Yeah, baby!
Instead, it will be based on customization, vehicles, and homes. Now here's what I think about what they say here. Customization meaning the skins, or the character's clothing, vehicles, maybe they will give you a motorbike that is flashier, a skin for your cars, and homes is possibly something like a furniture, and homes could heavily be implied as a sandbox game in Ananta. Like I said, a lot of minigames, a lot of content, too much I would say. This is something I'd like to go into a little bit as well because the first gacha, quote-unquote gacha, game that technically popularized this is Do It Night Abyss, DNA for short. Since then, many players are kind of hoping for other future gacha to do the same, games like Enfield included. I suppose you could say Ananta took a big leap here and listened to their players first. I have to admit, I'm not against this one bit. I think it's great that these games took out their predatory aspects and instead relies on other ways of microtransactions, possibly cosmetics, vehicles, or some exclusive skins that changes some special effects on the characters or stuff like that, right? On the other hand, I don't really mind having gacha in the game. I think Wuthering Waves did something good already actually for the weapon banner, but if they just remove the 50/50s and reduce the pity, I honestly think that's more than enough. And I know that's a hot take, right? That's just me. And to add more on that, be a bit more generous with the amount of pools given in the game. Look, I get companies are trying to make a quick buck out of the players, and I'm not saying I'm encouraging it, but I get it. So if sequences for the characters were kept in the game, I completely understand. And I'm not here trying to encourage them to change their mind to adding the gacha back. Okay, I already stated my thoughts here. I think it's fine that they remove gacha. I think it's good that they did that. I think it's great that they follow the DNA format. What they shouldn't do is buff the characters through the cosmetics. Now, what I mean is like you buy exclusive skins, for example, and your character suddenly becomes stronger or run faster, unlock fast-paced sprint, stuff like that. If that were to happen, well, it wouldn't be any different than getting characters with specific playstyle, wouldn't it? Like many other gacha games did. So as long as they avoid that, then we'll be getting a very, very good game here. Hell, I would even avoid calling them a gacha game, because that would be just an insult at that point. They just show too much content in the game and now even remove the gacha. The only thing that will make this a turnoff for some players is the stamina system. I honestly don't mind if there is any. There's just too much games and upcoming games in the meantime already. But FOMO though, God, please no! Let this game be free of FOMO. I cannot stand FOMO. I am sick of FOMO. Just once, I would like to log into a gacha game anytime I want and not let them control my schedules. You have to understand, FOMO isn't just about currencies. I still dislike how Genshin locks some free 4-star weapons, 4-star character skins behind the least enjoyable content in the game. Some of their events, I mean, these events can be an absolute chore. This goes the same for Wuthering Waves as well, but I don't think Wuthering Waves lock any 4-star weapons or characters. They just don't give any. They just give airstrikes. But Wuthering Waves did something, well, kind of good because they make the events permanent, but Genshin didn't make it permanent. And we can only get the rewards within the end of the patch. Okay, I just want this gone. So I think it's better if this were to not be an idea for them to add into the game. And I'm sure a lot of you will agree with this. And if you don't, hey, let me know what you think about Ananta. What do you think about what they are trying to do with Ananta? What do you think you want Ananta to be? Do you hate what they're trying to do with the gacha aspects in the game? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching the video. Bye-bye. Here's something I'd like to show you guys. I saw this clip in Twitter where the character, I don't know who this character is, but they can pick up some trash can and then boom it and hit the NPCs. This is so good. You can actually interact with the NPC, like realistically interact them. You can even cuff them because you're a police officer. You can do a lot more with the NPCs. The world is actually very interactive, and that is something I like what the game is trying to do.